So this is a quick tour of my Excel Aquarium data sheet. This is the main area where I enter my test results from all the parameters that I test. I generally do this on a daily basis, not all of them, but just test those things, and then I record the data here. This is the maintenance section where I enter the data for my water changes, my ORP and salinity probe calibrations, carbon changes, etc. I enter the data, and that gives me the next date that I have to perform the maintenance for each of them. This is the lighting section where I keep track of the programs that I use each day for lighting. So dosing data automatically enters the dosing amounts that I'm using at that current day. This is a picture of the data sheet where I enter my pump schedules. This is my charting data. It keeps track of each of the tests that I do on a real-time basis. As I enter the data, it updates the chart, and then it gives me the trends. This is my quarantine tank data for my fish quarantine tank. And this is the quarantine tank data for my quarantine tank for my corals. So when I get a coral, I just enter the name of the coral that I've put into my quarantine tank. It automatically calculates for me when I put it in and when I need to take it out. Then I can record that on my Google Calendar at a later date. This is a handy chart for me. This is my dosing chart. I can enter the daily dose that I want. It automatically calculates for me the Apex program. Then all I have to do is enter the data into the Apex programming. This is another section of my dosing calculator used to calculate my consumption of my calcium and alkalinity. So it gives me an idea of where to set my amounts. This is the maintenance schedule. I can actually pull in the information that I'm going to be using to reschedule and put it on my Google Calendar. This is the section for my quarantine tanks. Again, I can add this to my Google Calendar. This is where I keep the record of my salt batches and my testing of my RODI water. This is my equipment list. I keep a list of all my equipment, the websites where I can find information about the equipment, read order parts, etc. It's also an area where I keep my calibration of the equipment that needs calibrated, that I calibrate on a monthly basis. This is just a tool for me to do programming and my limit charts. This is a handy tool for me for using to look at the corals, the information about them, their lighting requirements, current, aggression, growth, etc. And then it charts out for me what's the best place to put them. These are the corals that I have in my tank, when I put them in, how long they were in quarantine, how long they've been in the tank. These are the ones that are actually in the tank. I use these so they don't have to sort through the whole list. So these are, when I put them in the tank, it copies it over, and then I can find out information that I might need to know in taking care of the corals. This is a handy tool. It's a lighting and current quadrant. It tells me based on the data from the charts, where I need to place the coral in the tank, the lighting level, and the current flow. It's a kind of a visual for me to be able to place the corals according to the recommendations. It's a list of fish and inverts in my tank, when I put them in, how long they've been in, when I removed them, or when they died. This is just a drop-down menu for my programming. This is my stocking plan. This is my Apex lighting program. It helps me to look at the lighting program in terms of the par that I want to get in certain programming. And this is my pump program. These are my tank stats. These are statistical data based on my current data that I have in my spreadsheet. So once I've entered all my data, made my changes, I can save it. Automatically makes a backup copy for me. Reminds me of what I need to do. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it interesting. I will be posting some details of some of these sections at a later date.